Morning, good morning. How are you guys doing? Happy Wednesday. We're in the middle of the week now. Thank goodness, right? Only 2 more days till Friday, right? Sheesh. This week has been something else. It's been crazy, but you know, we're making it through. The last the Monday and Tuesday was nice and bright and sunny outside. And then, hold on 1 minute. Sorry. So it's been sunny the last 2 days, and then today, gloomy. The damn weather is so gloomy. So, you know, this live stream is about I've been seeing a lot of people feeling a little bit down, and feeling like they want to give up, you know, and I definitely can resonate with that feeling. So I wanted to bring it, to my channel and talk about it because, not a lot of people talk about that. And I've been taking too many breaks, I'm not in no kind of algorithm. Yeah, so not a lot of people, I decided to bring it to my channel because, I want people to know that they're not alone, um when I'm feeling a certain way. I don't come on live a lot. I don't come bring any content to my channel, and it gets me out of the algorithm, like any algorithm. Like, look right now, nobody here right now, right? Um, because I'm not in no algorithm, you know, and that does suck. So I definitely know how it feels, So these are just one of those conversations that I just wanted to have because, there's many people that feel like, they want to give up on something they started. Whether it's losing weight, eating healthy, a craft project that they started and then they stopped, you know. But in my case, it's social media, content creation, YouTube, whatever platform, you know. But for me, it's this, you know. So if you ever felt that way, just know that you're not alone. You know, you are not lazy. You just going through it, and you're not building as fast as others. You know, I felt it. I still feel it sometimes. There are days of like, what am I doing? Why am I putting time into this when I'm not growing? Why am I supporting everybody but not seeing the same energy back? You know? So if this resonates with you, let me know. If you're watching this on the replay, let me know if this resonates with you. If you've been lucky enough to, to start something and grow it the way you expected it to, let me know. Let me know that too. Hey, Derek. Welcome in, welcome in. Today I'm talking about giving, like when that feeling about giving up. I've been noticing a lot of people been in their feelings. I don't know if it's like seasonal depression or whatever, but yeah. Um, but in my case, I'd be feeling like giving up social media because I'm not growing as fast as, as I would like to, you know. But let's start there. Expectations. If you people think if you're consistent, you grow fast. You know, if you support others, they'll support back. Hold on 1 minute. Yeah, so, you think that if your content is genuine, people will find me, but then you decide to take a break. So those breaks can actually hurt you. I'm noticing that taking a lot of breaks have messed with my channel a lot. So because then I get out of any kind of algorithm. I'm not popping up on people's timeline, their news feeds, anything like that. So it has been hurting me. But because of the way I feel, I don't feel like coming out here. And I'm not gonna come out here, feeling a certain way. And I'm just not one of those people that come online every day with nothing to talk about. I mean, some channels, they build themselves on that, just coming out and just going with the flow. But I feel like if I come on, that I'm supposed to have a certain topic. I don't know. Maybe that's hurting me as well because I'm thinking too much into it. Good morning, Fernando. Welcome in, welcome in. Thank you for hitting the like button, everybody. Thank you for double tapping that screen. Please subscribe to the channel. Yeah, slow and steady wins the race. That's what they say. But sometimes your patience doesn't, you know, it just doesn't let you think that way, you know. But none of those thoughts are wrong, but but they're incomplete because what nobody really tells you is growth is slow, you know? Support is inconsistent, Support is inconsistent, and you can't expect people to always support you the way you support them. And the algorithms also do whatever they want. Sometimes they'll push you in to a whole bunch of people seeing your content, and then the algorithm will just stop, shadow ban you out of nowhere, and then you feel like you're struggling to get seen again you know Hey, G&G. Good morning, sis. How are you? Happy Wednesday. I'm drinking my coffee. Who got their coffee? Oh, there we go. Got their coffee. I got my coffee. I always have to have my coffee. Next week, I think I'm going to start a 7-day just liquid fast because I need to get this um, weight loss started for sure. And I want to see some results. So I think I'm going to start a 7-day liquid fast. Oh God, pray for me. So, do you have time to stream every day? Technically, I do have time to stream every day, but it's just, I don't know. I'm just not one of those people that want to. You got yours with hazelnut creamer? Mmm. I got my Bustelo coffee. My Bustelo coffee, I drink it with almond milk. I drink it with almond milk. And it's yummy. Good morning, beautiful. How are you, sis? Happy Tuesday. I'm a day behind. Let me not, you know. We're already Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Yeah, no. I mean, I know you're kind of new here, so you don't know, but I used to go live every single day. You know, I did used to go live every single day, and that's what made me stop because I wasn't seeing myself growing the way I want to. And I know, I mean, it is what it is. You know, some people grow fast, some people grow slow. Um, but you know, some people, I don't talk about a lot of drama, and that's what a lot of people, most people like, let's be honest, most people are more interested in the drama. They don't really wanna talk about positive things, you know. Or and if you're talking about trending topics, most of the time if it has to do with like celebrities or social content creators or something like that, then your channel will, you know, skyrocket. But if you're talking about other things, um you might go slow. You might grow slow. And to me, honestly, those annoying, what I consider annoying, you know, content creators and like that, they're like, yeah, I could talk about them. But honestly, I don't have the patience to watch their content enough to get my content to talk about them. Like, I would love to, but I just don't have the patience. Sometimes they're too extreme and too annoying that I don't even want to watch their content to get content. And I know, you know, you should be able to just look past it if that's how you want to grow, you know? Um so yeah. So sometimes you post a video, you know, you poured your heart into and you get, you know, if it's a like regular long form, you're lucky if you even get 30 views. Now, of course, live streams, I can't say I do too bad when I go live, you know. For the amount of subscribers I have, my views are not that bad because I've seen um, people that have way more subscribers than me get about the same amount of views as me. So that I know, you know, and that's okay because most people don't know that when you do get monetized on YouTube, you don't get paid for the subscribers, you get paid for the view. So it really doesn't matter how many subscribers you have. You just need those first initial, you know, subscribers to be able to become monetized. But what really matters is your views, your super chats, your memberships, your ads. Because your ads, believe it or not, you don't get paid that much in ads. This is what I've heard. This is what I've researched. The most of your money comes from your views and, of course, your supporters supporting you through super chats, super stickers, and memberships. That's how you gain a, you know, a nice size check. So, yeah. Um, yeah. So, Then somebody else might post something that's rushed, messy, problematic, and it just takes off, and that can mess with your head, you know, and that's usually when the thoughts creep in, like, am I not good enough? Am I wasting my time? Maybe this just isn't for me. But you have to realize that everybody's different, you know? Everybody's different. People like what they like, and that's okay. And you do have to be more consistent, because if you're really on, if you really come on, if you really post, how are you going to, gain your own community if you're not as consistent as you should be? You're not going to just magically get the subscribers you need or the views you need by being inconsistent. That it doesn't work that way. That's like looking for love but not going anywhere. So, that person's not just gonna come knocking on your door magically. You have to get out there to meet that person. So it's the same way with this. You have to come out here to meet your people, for your people to meet you. you know um and the part people don't talk about enough is when you're a creator, your content is personal to you. It becomes personal, whether it's you talking about yourself, whether it's you bringing trending topics, whatever it is, it's still personal to you. So you know it's your voice. My cat is acting crazy, sorry. He got his head in a box. um so it's your voice, it's your energy, it's your time. Sometimes it's your Stormy. Sometimes you're healing. Sometimes you bring it to the social media to heal you. So when it feels like nobody's watching, it doesn't just feel like a platform issue anymore. You know, it feels personal. So you're talking into a void, basically, when you don't have the support that you expect. But I guess that's just how you have to start. I keep going. No matter what, keep talking. Eventually, your community will find you. You're showing up for people who don't show up for you. You're being overlooked. That's how you might feel. And that might be reality. After a while, that makes you tired. Not just physically tired, but mentally tired. And you just have to think and reprocess everything. You have to, realize that you're coming on this social media not for anybody else, but for you, you know? And eventually you'll grow the way you want to when you keep being consistent, keep showing up. And forget those that don't support you, you know? You could choose to stop supporting them. You don't have to support them, especially if they're not showing you any support. Like, what's the point, you know? Hey, TC, my GG sis, how are you? I hope you're doing well. I'm sure you're back home now. How are you? Well, this stream is about this, but I have other streams about different stuff. I bring trending topics. Um, some days I bring trending topics. Some days I talk about me. Some days is me and my son. You know. Some days I take you into the city to see Manhattan. It's just different. It's basically lifestyle with a bit of trending topics in between. You got home Monday? Oh, good. You're doing a lot better? Good. You must be sore and stuff. Yeah, take it easy. But I'm glad you're home, you know? I'm glad you're home and doing much better. So, yeah. So when people are feeling a certain way, that's when they tend to take breaks, like me. 2 days, 3 days, a week, you know? And that has messed me up, taking the breaks, but sometimes you just need it, you know? Sometimes you just need those breaks, and it's okay. So taking a break does not mean that you quit. Sorry about the sirens. Hold on 1 minute. Let them pass by. Yeah, so, and another thing that causes a lot of damage when you feel like you're not getting where you need to be on this red app, it's when you compare yourself to others, You start comparing yourselves to others. We compare our day 100 to somebody else's, our real life to someone's else's highlights, you know, our authenticity to someone else's viral moment, you know, our realness to somebody's silliness, you know. Um, but that's what's working for them. And we can't compare ourselves to them, because we're different. Everybody's different. Yeah, you need the breaks. Everything is not about social media. It's about balance. Yep. And everybody grows for different reasons. Some people grow because they're extremely great at entertaining. They're very consistent. They found their niche early, you know, and sometimes they are their own niche. They bring themselves on the platform, on the screen, and just show their authentic self, you know, their silliness, their weirdness, their craziness, their silliness, whatever it is, and that's what's working for them, you know and that's good. But you can't compare yourself if that's not you. You can't try to be like that person just because you see that their channel is growing, fast, growing the way you wanted yours to. you know and sometimes you really don't have one specific niche, like on this channel. I don't have just one topic that I want to talk about, that I like to talk about. I just go with the flow, basically. If I see a trending topic that catches me, that I find interesting and I think others would be interested in, that's when I start researching it, and I'll bring it to you guys. But then there's days that I'm just outside chilling, taking a walk, and I bring you guys along with me, so you guys can hear the hustle and bustle of New York, while I'm just walking, doing my regular daily thing, you know. A lot of you guys live in quiet places, and some of you guys never even been to New York. So I know a lot of people enjoy that, seeing different places, you know without needing to actually get on a plane or get in a car to be here, you know? And then I know some of then you guys see Jackson, my son. You guys see him and his silliness and his crazy toddler self, So I don't think that I think that is okay not to just lock yourself into one specific thing. YouTube streaming seems like a rat race to me. Like, do other streamers generally support other streamers they call or make feel as in their circle? I don't think so. I think some people do. I think some people do. But they have, of course, they have their favorites, and that's who they're gonna choose to support. You know. And it is what it is. I mean, that's okay. Can't knock them for having their favorites. I'm sure you have your favorite too, right? We all have our favorites that we support. But I'm not gonna lie, like I do try to support everybody that I have met. And, even if I'm passed through, stay in their chat for a few minutes, you know, say hi to everybody. But sometimes you don't get that same support back. You will get a, oh, hey, friend, when you're on their stream, but they pick and choose who to boost up and celebrate. That's facts, yep. Especially when they know a certain person, needs a certain amount of hours to become monetized, and they're, what is it? Like they're promoting their channels, but then they ask you a question behind the scenes, and they know that you need that same kind of promotion, but they don't promote you. Like they ask you a question, like how many hours you need and this and that, but yet then you see them promoting somebody else's channel and not your channel. So why did you even ask how many hours I need for monetization if you're not even going to help promote me? And I've seen that happen to people, and that's why some people choose to back off from supporting them. Sorry, guys. And then people choose to stop supporting them, and then they think it's because of jealousy or things like that. No, it's because you're not giving the same support that I was giving you. And if people feel that way, I think that's okay. If somebody is not supporting you the way you're supporting them, and you choose to separate yourself, that's fine. I'm sure they're not gonna miss you anyway, right? They wasn't supporting you. TC, hey Rodney, good morning. TC says, I'm not coming up here competing with nobody. I put a lot of different things to my channel um, that brings positive energy. So I guess I am still finding my niche. Yeah, but I think that's your niche. Your positive affirmations, your positive conversations. That's your niche at the moment, you know? Yeah, Derek says, yeah, I seen that stuff happens and it sucks. Yeah, exactly. Um, but that's what happens too when people have a certain clique. They choose to start supporting others more than they support you. And you might not understand why, but it is what it is, right? You can't just dwell on it and keep wondering why is it. Like if you ask them a question and they can't come out straightforward and tell you why they don't support you as much as they support others, then it's time to walk away because they're obviously being fake. And to me, like if you're a real friend or supporter, you will even you don't have to do it like live on a platform, but in the background, on the back end, through an email, a messenger, or DM, whatever it is, let them know, hey, maybe you have suggestions for their channel to make it better. And and if you're a true friend and supporter, you would take that in. You would take that constructive criticism. You wouldn't take it as being judgmental or jealous or anything like that. You should be able to communicate, because I'm guessing you're both adults, right? Because I'm pretty sure none of us, communicate with any children on this app, you know? So if you're true friends or supporters or whatever, you should be able to take that advice in, you know? And then you can choose to switch up a little bit, or just thank them for the advice and just keep it moving. But yeah. Derek says, I agree with Mom of Three, because being positive on YouTube sets you apart. The positivity I've seen across streams is very fake and animated, nothing really genuine. It was times I was modded in streams and stuff, and the moment someone read a message wrong, I was almost thrown out the stream and attacked by other mobs. Like, what the hell? Mods. Yeah. That happens a lot too. Um, yeah, you gotta be careful with that too. But you just have to you also have to know how the host, expects you to mod, you know, and if you have other mods, you just have to know how to communicate with your mod squad. Basically, you have to just learn how to communicate. Like, if somebody is not there to hurt the host, you know, you shouldn't take anything personal if they're not talking about the host themselves. But yeah, modding is a whole different thing. I mod in chats too, and you know the mods get attacked a lot. It's so when something goes down, it's all of a sudden, it's always the mods fault. It's always the mods fault all of a sudden. And sometimes mods get into disagreements too, but you should be able to talk to your mod sister or brother, not take anything personal. If you guys don't agree with something, it's best to take it to the host, and then the host can, you know, tell the mods how, like, who was in the right and who was in the wrong, and how to move forward. But nobody should take it, personal. That's what I think, at least. You know. Um, I've been modding for certain people, for almost 2 years, and people always, and then it's like in a drama sector, so they always try to blame the mods for everything, you know, and it's not the damn mods' fault. you know, it's not always the damn mods' fault. So stop blaming mods. That's what we're there for, to mod. Yeah. So to continue, so some people just found their niche early, and that's how they're growing. Others grow because, they stir drama, they're showing their body off. Like, people love that. People love to see boobs. People love to see ass. People love to see cleavage, you know? And of course, that's going to attract, people at that moment, you know? But are they really, sorry, But are they really going to continue to support you are the question. Yeah, they could hit that subscribe button, but are they going to continue to support you on an everyday basis is the question, you know, because that's what you need. The numbers really don't matter when it comes to subscribers. The views is what matters, you know. Are they going to come in and stay in? Are they going to, you know, troll your chat? But, you know, so certain people also grow because they exploit their situations. You know, if they like to play the victim role, you know, they want to they make themselves seem as the victim. They might not want to, but they talk about a lot of situations that make them seem like the victim for people to sympathize with them or to empathize with them. And that's how they grow also. You know, they do things that you wouldn't feel right doing, you know? Like if you have a conscience, you kind of know what you want to do and what you feel right doing. You know, some people don't have that conscience and they know, oh, um this is gonna make people engage with me, so I'm gonna do this. Like, you know, I'm gonna come out and show this because I know that's what people are gonna be looking at and they're gonna want to come in my chat. But I don't know. Who am I to judge, you know, if that's how they want to grow their channel in the, to me, it's kind of like the wrong way, but if that's what they choose, who am I, you know? I didn't even know that's how YouTube system works until you explained it today about views, subscribers, and the payout. Yeah, you know, I support a lot of people that are monetized, and I listen, you know. I do listen to what they say about how they get paid. A lot of people think that the ads pay so much money, and the truth is, I've heard that they used to pay very well, but recently, like the last year or so, the ads don't pay as much as they used to. So if you don't really have those supporters that are watching your content like through from front to, you know, from beginning to end, you know, they're not throwing you those super chats, super stickers, they're not getting your membership, then your check is gonna be on the lower side. So some people think that getting monetized is magically gonna get you like a 5 digit check, but that's not true. You need the views, you need your supporters, and you actually need your supporters to support you. Unless you have like millions of subscribers, you know, that you're gonna get like, you know, hundreds of thousands of views, that then you're not really gonna get a good paycheck unless those supporters support you through super chats, super stickers, and memberships. So yeah. So for me, this channel, you know, is a lot of bit of this and a little bit of that. Um, I am gonna have another channel that's based on my health and fitness journey, and I'm not really going to promote that channel here because I honestly want a different community over there. I want a community that's there for me, not a community that, you know, that they're gonna hit that subscribe button just to hit the subscribe button. I want to hopefully gain the community that's for me, that's actually gonna support me. So I am making another channel that's gonna be based on my health and fitness journey. I'm gonna be being vulnerable and working out and showing you guys my struggles, because over the years I have gained weight. This is the biggest I've been in all my life. And although I'm not 300 pounds or anything like that, for my small build, I'm only 5'2", 5'1". Um, this is too much weight for anybody of this size. So, yeah. And I don't want to mix that. I want to focus just on that on the other channel, so I'm not going to bring that to this channel. And yeah. Hey JC, how are you? Good morning. How are you? Hope you're doing well. So yeah. So what works for others is not always gonna work for you. Your journey is definitely different because you are different. I need to realize, I keep saying that to myself, like, you're not going to grow as much or fast as others because you're you. You're not them, you know? And sometimes I do get in my feelings and then I land up taking breaks. But I need to get out my head, my own head, you know? And just keep being consistent and pushing out whatever I want to. This is my channel, and I can't be like others because I'm not that other person. I'm not those other people. I'm me, you know? And those that are meant for me will be here. And those that are not, they're where they're supposed to be. I've been in this same space for I want to be me, not all the other stuff. Consistency is key. Yep. You know? So I So I definitely have to stop asking myself, why them and why me? They're just on a different journey than me. You know, they they're growing at a different rate than me because they're not me. And that's okay, you know? But I do constantly ask myself, like, what kind of community do I want to build, not what kind of community they want to build. I want to grow my own community that's going to be here for me, that shows up for me, that, hits that notification bell because they want to know when I'm online, and that they want to show up for me, especially if I'm showing up for them, you know. At one point, my schedule was all over the place. I wasn't sleeping at night, so I was up all night watching the, overnight streams. And now I'm like back to a kind of regular schedule because by freaking 9 o'clock lately, I've been tired. And everybody that's used to seeing me late at night be like, where you been? Because I'm not in their streams anymore. And it's because I'm back to a regular schedule at the moment. But yeah, one thing I've never been is a quitter. And, you know, I'm going to keep showing up for myself. If not, you know, if I don't show up for myself, who will? Right? Um, so even if you support people consistently, you show up to their lives, you comment, like, share, promote, you have to realize that people are not like you. Not all people are going to do everything that you do for them, and you have to expect that. So you have to choose if you want to continue supporting or not, and you can't always support somebody just because you expect that support back, you know? Like I said in the beginning, everybody has their favorites, and that's okay because I'm sure you have your favorites as well, you know? But it does, you know, bother or hurt when that support is not returned, you know? That feeling just makes people bitter sometimes. It makes people resentful. And sometimes it makes people want to quit altogether. But, here's the hard truth: support is not always mutual, and it's not always intentional. People have lives. You know, people come on their live, they have to build their channel. You know, they do have the people that they consistently um, support, and sometimes it's not intentional. Sometimes they don't get your notifications. Um, Sometimes they're just busy, and that's okay because, like I said, people have lives. So it's time to take that bitterness out the equation, and just move for you, move for your channel. You know, some people are overwhelmed, some are, focused on themselves, or simply don't see things the way you do, and that's okay. But you are allowed to pull back, protect your energy, stop over giving. That doesn't make you fake. That makes you self aware. And it's okay, it's okay to say, I'm going to focus on my community now because your community is what matters, you know? Um, you can't expect to go into somebody else's channel or chat and that same community to come follow you. You know, you have to grow your own community. That's what matters here on this red app, the blue app, whatever app. You have to grow your own community because when you hit that live button, when you post that video, your community is going to want to watch regardless if they're your community. So here's the part, that I really want people to hear: that every creator you admire, every single one had moments that they wanted to quit. You know, the difference, the difference is they didn't quit. You know, they didn't quit. They kept going forward. They kept bringing their content in. They kept being consistent. And guess what? They're gaining their community. They gain their community, people that are going to show up for them. You know, they didn't quit on a bad day because feelings are temporary. Feelings are temporary, but quitting can be permanent. You don't need to upload every day, go live consistently. Don't burn yourself out. But what you do need is consistency over time, patience with yourself, and to give yourself grace. You know, you're not perfect. You know, not everybody's going to like you, and that's okay. Because you want the people that like you for you, not because of how you're trying, not because you're acting a certain way to make people like you. You want people to like you. And for me, it's very hard. I've always been that person that people don't like until they get to know me, because they think that I have that, what is it? Damn, what's that? I just talked about it the other day, what the phrase somebody said. like standoffish. Some people think that I'm standoffish before they get to know me, you know. But you need to realize sometimes what you see is not what you get in real life, you know. Sometimes people have to act a certain way to be, you know, because strong is the only way they can be, you know. And sometimes when a person is independent and strong, it comes across a different way to others. So judging them doesn't help them because you do not know what they feel deep down inside and when they're off camera, you know. Some people think that, you know, have had that notion that I think I'm better than others, and no, because when you really get to know me, when you become my friend, you really see that I'm there for you, you know? I'm building you up. I want you to see that you're better, you know, than any situation that you might be um letting get to you, any situation that you might be in. And when you get to know me, you realize that it's not from a place of judgment, it's from a place of that I care, that I don't want to see you in that situation because I know you deserve better. But some people just read me the wrong way. I've That has always happened to me. People always read me the wrong way, and that has pissed me off over the years, you know? But it is what it is at this moment, you know? Like, what can I do? You want to judge a book by its cover? That's on you. Hey, I'm the survivor, sis. How are you? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. So I've been talking about, you know, just the feeling of giving up, especially on social media when you're trying to grow your channel, you know. But it can be with anything in life, you know. You just have to keep going. Don't compare yourself to others. You know, be consistent, and whatever consistent is for you, not what consistent is for others, not being as consistent as others. Be consistent the way you want to be. You know, keep bringing that content out, you know, keep being you. Thank you for double tapping the screen. Thank you for hitting that like button. If you haven't, please hit that subscribe. So, yeah. So even if you post less, if you go live once a week, even, you know, even if growth is slow growth is still growth, right? You know, it's easy to watch others' numbers, you know. It's so easy to watch everybody numbers grow around you and yours stay stagnant or growing at a slow rate. And of course, you know, you're only human. So of course you're going to feel a certain way. Like, why am I not good enough? You know, what is it about me that, you know, people don't like? But if you keep dwelling on that, then eventually you are gonna, you know, give up. So it's best not to pay attention to all that, you know? So sometimes you have to redefine, you know, that success. Success isn't just numbers, it's impact, it's connection, you know? It's connecting to those that connect with you. It's someone feeling seen because of your content, you know? And build for the right people. You don't need everybody, but you need your people. You need to grow your people, those that are going to be there for you. You know, stop chasing. Stop chasing what doesn't align with you. That's not what's not meant for you. That's, you know, just because something goes viral doesn't mean that it's worth it and doesn't mean that it's going to get anywhere actually, you know. And also, you if you feel like resting, rest. Rest without guilt. Rest is just part of the process. Rest is not failure. And also, stop looking at those numbers. Sometimes you just need to forget about those numbers for a while. Just keep putting out your content, you know? Keep posting, keep coming live. Take a break from looking at those numbers for a week or two, maybe even a month, just to see how much you grow in that month without looking at your numbers, without expectation, you know? Because that's where you get yourself fucked up and in your head when you keep looking at those numbers daily on a daily basis. You know, sometimes you just need to ignore the numbers and worry about yourself and your content, you know, and your community. Hey, Belt Loop, how are you? Thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for hitting that like button. Yeah, facts. The numbers aren't important or forever. Just saying, yeah, you're right. But thank you. I appreciate you for coming through. The problem is people get obsessed. Then it seems like you're not making any progress. Yeah, that's a fact. Yep, that's so true. And that's what I've been talking about. Watching those numbers, you know, comparing yourself to people. Yep. Then you get frustrated and end up quitting. Yep. And that's what I've been talking about too, you know. You pay attention to the numbers, you pay attention to other people's numbers, and yeah, you get frustrated. You get frustrated and then you end up quitting. Yeah, I've seen that too. People get monetized and then basically stop. I don't know why that. Because if you monetize, at least keep bringing out something, even if it's once or twice a week. Might as well. But yeah, because I think it's because then they have that. Then what gets to them is that they have to come out with something good to keep gaining their engagement. So then that becomes tough on them as well. But you're right, you know? You have to stop looking at those numbers, stop being obsessed with the numbers, you know? You're going to grow eventually, you know? And you're going to grow at your own pace. What's meant for you. What's meant for others is not what meant for you, and what's meant for you is not meant for others. You know, maybe you grow slow, but everything, your views, your engagement, all your analytics, your community, it's what's best for you, you know. And when you get monetized, you're gonna do well, you know. And those that are moving fast, it might be because of trolls, it might be because of bots, and you know, you might think that they're moving fast and growing, you know. They might even get monetized before you, but because of everything that's been going on in YouTube and their guidelines and standards and all that, you might think that somebody's growing faster and steady and all that. And once they get monetized, they might be monetized for a month or two. And then guess what? Because YouTube starts watching even more, because you're monetized, they might realize that all those views weren't genuine and they take away your monetization. So you do have to think, you know, the way you grow, if it's the right way. You don't want to grow the wrong way. You want to grow the right way, and that everything aligns with the guidelines of YouTube, so that once you start getting, you know, those paychecks, that is not getting taken away from you, you know, for false views. Hey, Alan, bro, how are you? Happy Wednesday. Haven't seen you around. Hope you're doing well. Glad you're here. I've seen people that legit grow at a stupid fast rate. Still, it's a story of sour grapes. Yep. The truth is, it doesn't matter what somebody else does. Yeah, it doesn't. That's their channel, that's their way of growing. You know, that's not you. And everybody's different. So it is what it is. Yeah, so I'm learning, stop looking at my analytics. I have to stop looking at those numbers because that does get you frustrated when you're trying to grow and you're not growing at the rate that you want to. And definitely, I'm not looking at others. You look at others, then you want to freaking grow like them, and that's not the way it should be. You should be doing this because you enjoy it, you know, because if it actually feels like a job and you start getting feeling a certain way about it and not happy when you do it, why do it at all? It doesn't make sense. So grow the way you want to, the way you feel comfortable, the way you enjoy doing your content, not the way others do their content. Because you're not them and they're not you. Hey, Smooth, bro. How are ya? What's so funny? Right? Exactly. I don't want another job. I have a hobby with YouTube. Yeah. And, when you come on YouTube, it shouldn't feel like a job, especially a job that you're not happy with. Because why do it? You know? I'm sure we have enough going on in real life, that we have to maybe struggle with or whatever. Why come on this red app to feel the same way? No, we should come on here and enjoy what we're doing, you know? So sometimes we do have to think about that and, just realign, readjust, reassess, what we're doing and why we're here, you know? Stop watching others and expecting the same outcome that they're getting. You know, what's meant for you is meant for you. All right, Belt Loop, thank you for coming in. Have a great week. Thanks. That's good, Smooth. Yeah, I just been talking about, the feeling of giving up, especially on this app. When you see that you're not growing the way you would like to. I've said a lot. I've been on for an hour already. So, yeah. So it all comes down to stop looking at your numbers, stop looking at others' numbers. Don't expect yourself to grow as fast as others because you're you, not them, and they're not you. They're them, you know? So views don't define you, subscribers don't define you. You do, you know? So if you're feeling like giving up right now, just remember that you're not alone. You are not alone. Just keep being consistent. Even if you're not coming on every single day, because, some people just don't have it in them. I know I honestly just don't have it in me most of the time to come on every single day. But some people, they're addicted to it, and, that live button calls them every single day. Maybe multiple times a day. And that doesn't, sorry. And that doesn't make that it there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody's different. So be as consistent as you want to be, whether it's once a week, twice a week, 7 days a week, 14 times a week, 21 times out the week. You might come on 3 times a day, 7 days a week. That's on you. But just be as consistent as you would like to be. you know um Pause, breathe. Don't make permanent decisions based on temporary feelings. You know, you started for a reason, you still have something to say, and somebody still wants to hear it. Even if you don't see it yet, you know, there's somebody out there that wants to hear you, that needs to hear you, you know, that needs to know that you're not alone, you know? So if you're watching this and you've been discouraged, let this be your reminder that you are not alone, you know, that you're not behind, and your journey is your journey and your journey is valid, you know? And just continue to make this fun. Don't make it feel like a job that you don't like. You want this, if it is gonna feel like a job, make it be a job that you actually enjoy, you know? Bring what you want to your channel, what you enjoy. Because if you don't bring content that you enjoy, what's the point? You know, nobody likes that job that you're not happy in. And I'm sure if this is like your second job, you don't want two jobs that you don't like. You know, maybe you do like your first job, but you don't want this job to not be a job that you like as well, you know? You want it to actually enjoy what you're doing. So, if you're watching the replay, let me know how this resonates with you. Have you ever felt like giving up? You know, how long you've been creating? What do you do what have you done when you felt like giving up? You know, and if you ever felt like quitting, or maybe you had never felt like quitting, and what did you do to feel that way or to not feel that way? You know, so let's talk about it together, because this is how communities are built. I know for me, I'm definitely going to stop looking at my numbers for a while. I'm going to stop, you know, comparing myself and getting into my own feelings, and stop expecting certain things from other individuals, because I have to realize that, you know, not everybody is going to support the way you do. People are not going to show up for you like you show up for them. And that's just how life is, right? Whether it's on or off this app. So the number one thing is show up for yourself at all times, you know? And then your community will come to you. The community that's meant for you will come for you, you know? But yeah. So that's what I have for now. You know, thank you everybody that passed through. Thank you for everybody that hit that like button. If anybody comes on the replay and, you know, gets to this point, thank you for coming in. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. If you would like to donate to my channel, the way to donate is in my bios, and they're clickable links. So all you have to do is hit the links and it will lead you to where you can donate to my channel. And as always, any donations are greatly appreciated. I use it to grow. I use it to take care of my family, you know, and it definitely motivates me to keep coming back. So I want to thank you for everybody that is my community, everybody that comes supports me every time I do hit that button, every time that I post a video, even if you don't catch it at that moment, that you catch the replay. I just want, to make sure you guys know that I really appreciate you. Thanks, Alan. Yes, show up for yourself at all times. Yes. But yes, so I just want you guys to know that I really appreciate you. I really appreciate your support. And you are what keeps me coming back, regardless of when I get in my feelings. But I will catch you on the next one. My next live stream will be about apologies, about people that try to force apologies out of you, people that hold resentment, towards you for years, you know, and what happens when they don't get that apology that they expect. Um, so yeah. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I'm coming back. And have a great day, guys. Happy Wednesday.